All right. Right. It looks like we are live. Oh, hopefully my microphone is working just fine. It looks like it is. All right. So, welcome to Coffee with a Trainer. So, hopefully, you got your coffee. I've got my coffee here. And so, in my Van Gogh tumbler that keeps everything nice and warm because my coffee usually gets very cold before I finish it. So, that's why I've gone to drinking my iced coffee here over the years. So, we are live today with Coffee with a Trainer in place of our Tuesdays training tips with Tough today. And the reason for that is that today is about more of question and answer with live so that you can get on here today to ask live questions. So today is about solving holiday stress and travel challenges with your dog. And the reason that we are doing this as a webinar today is because many of you just had a holiday weekend with your dogs, and it was Halloween. And if you just had Halloween with your dogs and you struggled with Halloween, you have some big holidays coming up soon that could be some potential challenges for your pet, and we want to set you up for success with that. And so with that, then I want to say welcome everyone to Coffee with a Trainer, and this is brought to you by Legend Acres, force-free, fear-free, science-based dog and horse training. I'm Christy May, and one of our certified trainers. And today we're diving into the topic that hits home for so many pet owners, and that is how to handle holiday stress and travel with your dog. If your dog struggled this past holiday weekend with Halloween, maybe barked at guests, hid from noises, and couldn't settle while traveling, or while you had trick-or-treaters ringing your door, you are not alone. Today, we'll talk about why that happens and what you can do to help. How you can build calm, confident behavior all season long. So first thing we're going to do is start with what's really going on with our dogs I don't know what that was. So let's try that again. So let's start with what's really going on for our dogs during the holidays. Dogs thrive on consistency, and the holidays completely disrupt that. We change routines, we bring in visitors, we decorate, we travel, and sometimes our stress spills over to them. So unfamiliar guests and noises trigger a fight, flight, or freeze response. Travel induces new smells, surfaces, and unpredictable environments. Overstimulation plus lack of decompression equals reactivity or anxious behaviors. Before any event, use decompression walks and enrichment like sniffy walks. We call them sniffaries, or food puzzles, or some kind of seeking games. Calm starts before the excitement begins. So we want to bring that emotional level down before an event starts, not in the middle and not after. Well, actually, we want to do it in the middle and after as well, but you need to bring that emotional level down before the excitement begins. If you're planning to travel for the holidays, preparation is everything. So I have a checklist for stress-free travel for you. Practice short car rides before your long trips. If your dog has never been on a long trip, then don't just throw them in the car and go for a long trip and expect them to be successful. So do some smaller trips first. And sometimes that is just going to be just a trip to go to the park, or someplace that they've not been before. Just take a little bit, just practice some little trips before you do your big trip. Pack your dog's essentials: a bed, a blanket, toys, water, and food from home. The more things you bring from home that are familiar, the better that your dog will do in an unfamiliar space. Use crash-tested seatbelts or travel crates. So if you're traveling with your dogs, make sure that they're secured and safe in your vehicle. Plan regular breaks every 2 to 3 hours for stretching and sniffing. Make sure that you're giving some time for some decompression while you're traveling. Again, so we want to make sure that we're giving them some time to kind of turn off in the middle of that travel and giving them some breaks. Try some calming tools like Adaptil. So Adaptil does come in a travel spray, and so you can spray it in your car, on your seats, on your dog's beds. You can spray it on a bandana that your dog wears. You can also spray it if you have a cargo bed in the back, or like a cargo netting, you can spray it on that in your car. Just know that the Adaptil spray does have an alcohol, like kind of a smell, and it's what they use as the carrier for the Adaptil. So when you spray it in your car, you want to open up all your doors and let that alcohol kind of dissipate off, because once the alcohol dissipates off, the Adaptil is present. But it only lasts for up to 4 hours. And so that spray is actually meant to be for travel. It's not meant to be used for anything else. It's meant to be used for short trips, or it has to be refreshed. The other thing you can use that Adaptil for too is then when you get into a new space, like if you're going to be in a hotel room or anything like that, spray down the space that you're going to be in. You can even spray your clothing with that Adaptil because that does wash off. And so that Adaptil will come off. So Adaptil spray actually has a lot of good uses, even though it only has a 4-hour use time on that, because it can always just be refreshed. And so don't be afraid to use that Adaptil spray. Adaptil spray is something that I have in my car. It sits in the back of my driver's seat, like in the back. There's like a pocket in the back seat. And so I do keep a small travel bottle of that there. CBD, don't be afraid to use CBD. If your dog does have issues with car sickness too, so you can use Dramamine. Just make sure that you're using just Dramamine, no other ingredients in it. And if your dog really gets car sick, then you can also go to your vet and you can get some Cerenia, so that you can, it's an anti-nausea that you can do, because you want your dog to be comfortable while you're traveling, and you don't want to have to clean up any kind of messes while your dog is traveling either. CBD is great for travel because it has a very short window of from the time that you give it to the time that it works. And so it's very helpful to use for that. And then also I'm going to include into the chat here the car training. So we have a free car training to do some counter conditioning with the car. So that way we can get your dog super comfortable with the car as well. And so also, you can find some recommended travel gear and calming aids in the Legend Acres shop page, which is, if you go to our main page, which is www.legend-acres.com, and then you go up to the main menu and you hit shop. If you go on there, you're going to find our Amazon lists. And if you go into the Calm, you're going to find that there. And then you're also going to find some other lists as well in that Amazon page. And then there's also a travel page there. So you're going to be able to go into travel, and that's where you're going to find a lot of things that are going to be super helpful for you for travel with your dogs. Okay, so now let's talk about when the party comes to you. So we've talked about traveling. Now, what happens when you have guests coming into your home? All right. Create a quiet retreat space. Just because guests are coming to see you does not mean that your dog wants to interact with your guests the entire time that they're there, or that they're comfortable interacting with your guests the entire time that they're there. So create a separate room where your dog can relax and can get away from your guest if they're not comfortable with them. Use baby gates to control greetings and exits. So manage the space that your dog has access to, because your guests are also may not all enjoy your dog on top of them the way that I do. So I do appreciate that, okay? Because I want your dog to be a dog on top of me. So if your dog is not in my hair when I come over, I'm very disappointed, just to let you know, okay? Because I expect your dog to be just as excited to see me as I'm excited to see your dog. However, not all of your guests are quite as excited about your dog as I am to see your dog when I come into your home, okay? So use baby gates So that way your guests don't get bombarded when they're coming in, especially if they're coming in with luggage or they're carrying lots of bags, and your dog might be a little excited about those things coming in. Provide enrichment for your dog. So give them things to do during mealtime to prevent begging or overexcitement. So one of the big things that I see from people, and one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I get my dog to sit quietly while we're eating? You can't, okay, because your dog isn't going to sit there and watch you eat, okay, with nothing to do. Your dog is the equivalent of a 2-year-old toddler. You cannot sit and eat and ask a 2-year-old toddler to sit quietly and do nothing. You have to give them something to do. So make sure that you're giving them something to do. One of the things that I do when I teach my dogs to sit quietly while we eat, so I can train them to be underneath the table while we eat out, is I give them chews. So I like to use real stuffed bones. And I also like to use antlers. I like to use the Himalayan chews. And if you go to that shop page and you go to the list that says enrichment chew and heavy chewers, you're going to find those long lasting chews listed there on that list on Amazon. And so those are my favorite go-tos. I also use Kongs and things, but I really like those long lasting chews because I can pick those up and then just stick them right into the dog bag again once the meal is over, and then I can hand them back out again. And so I can do that without like the mess of a Kong or having to wash something and kind of put it back in. And so those are just kind of really easy to grab and pick up type things. Again, nothing wrong with a Kong or a snuffle mat, but I just find that those don't keep my dog busy long enough for me. Those are great things like when I need them to kind of calm down at the end of the day, but not for the duration of what a meal would be. Reward calm behavior. Okay, don't wait for barking to redirect your dog. Okay, talk to them, tell them that they're being good. And okay, they need that feedback of they're doing the right thing. They're looking for like what to do. They're learning how to behave with these changes in their environment. So talk to them. Tell them they're doing good. Reward them for being good. And talk them through those things. Don't wait for them to be bad and then you pay attention and then redirect the behavior. Okay, so talk to them. Let them know that they're being good. Talk them through those things. Treat them like a 2-year-old toddler that is just being exposed to the world for the first time, and really set them up for success in this. And just walk them through it like you would a 2-year-old toddler who's not had guests over before. So talk to them like they understand what's going on, right? So a dog who withdraws is not being antisocial. Okay, they're self-regulating. Let them choose space when they need it. Don't force a dog to come in and greet. Don't force a dog to eat cookies out of a stranger's hand. If they don't want to come in, they don't have to come in. Don't make them. It's the dog's choice as to whether or not they want to come in and interact. Don't make a big deal about that. Let them get comfortable with the people in their house first. If your dog struggled this weekend, here's your roadmap for a reset. Dogs need recovery after a change in routine and after big interruptions, especially if your trick-or-treaters rang the doorbell this weekend. In our neighborhood, one of the great things about our neighborhood is that the kids don't ring the doorbell. If you are participating in trick-or-treating, you set up in the driveway. So that is one great thing about our neighborhood, because then there isn't anybody ringing the doorbell. So I am able to take the dogs kind of around early before the kids really start and show them what's going on, because everybody's setting up in their driveway. And then we're able to sit, and then the kids kind of come into us. And so that has really helped my dogs really kind of thrive during Halloween, instead of doorbell ringing and answering the door and kind of all of that back and forth. But your pups still need to reset after an event like that. And for some dogs, it can take 2 weeks up to 2 months to recover from a change in routine like that. So make sure that you have some recovery in place for your pups. Okay. So go back to the basics for 3 to 5 days. That's going to look like structured walk, calm indoor time, enrichment. So put them back on that puppy schedule that you had them on. So a structured nap time, a structured walk time, a structured time that you were doing your homework. So put them back on a regular routine. All right, reintroduce guest or travel gradually, short exposure with treats and praise. Reinforce desired behaviors, not perfection. Progress, okay, is success, not perfection. Perfection is not success. And then consider a private training session or Legend Acres behavior modification workshop to rebuild confidence. And you may also have to do some counter conditioning. And so if you need any assistance with that, or would like to set up a free assessment in home so that we can see what's going on and what you're struggling with after this past holiday weekend, or you need help setting up success for the upcoming holidays, we're going to come into your house for free. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you are local to Clarksville, Tennessee, or you're local to West Valley, Arizona, we are going to come into your home in person. And if you are outside of that range, we're going to pop into your home just like this through video chat. And so you can set up that call online at www.legend-acres.com. And we will just get on there and just have a discussion. I can see your home, your layout, and we can go over and make some plans to set your pup up for success for the upcoming holidays, whether you're going to be traveling or you have people coming into you. And let's make this stress-free for your pup, because when it's stress-free for your pup, it's stress-free for you. And then when it's stress-free for your pup and stress-free for you, it's stress-free for your guest, and it's stress-free for your family. And your holidays are much more enjoyable when you're not stressed out about your dog. And not only that, but when you're stressed out about your dog, then your dog is stressed out because you're stressed out, and then they're already stressed out. And so then now there's this vicious cycle of that your dog is already stressed out, and then you're stressed out because your dog is stressed out. And okay, you see where this goes, right? Okay, then we all get off in the weeds over here, and then everybody's stressed out about being stressed out, and nobody's enjoying the holidays because everybody's stressed out. Okay. And then your guests want to go home. All right. That's not what you want. You want to enjoy your family and your dog and the holidays, and you want your dog to be part of this. Okay. None of you got a dog to separate your dog out from your family. You got a dog to be part of your family so that you can enjoy the holidays with your dog. You got a dog to live in your home and to thrive in your home and to be part of your family, not to shut it up in a bedroom or lock it away when guests come over. You want this dog to be able to thrive and be part of your family and part of your festivities. And so we're here to help you and support you in making that happen. Okay, so don't hesitate to reach out. When I say that these assessments are free, like, it's free. Schedule a phone call. Okay, you're going to get Carmen on the phone, and she is going to ask you some questions about your training goals and where you're located, and she's going to direct you into your next appointment. And whether that's a one-on-one or whether she's got the answers for you, and she's going to direct you into the classes that you need to take, or just a place to kind of get started. She's going to have you maybe take an online workshop before you meet with me, and just so that you have an idea of kind of what you're getting into. But start there. Okay. And I'm going to tell you that dog training is much more affordable than you think it is. There's this idea, and I've done it. We've all done it, right? Where we've put something off because we're just in this idea of like, oh, I'm never going to be able to afford that. Right. Okay. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to afford that kind of thing. And then you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. And then when you finally get around to it, because you're like, I can't delay this any longer. And then you finally do it and you find out how much it costs. And then you're like, really, that's how much it was. I could have done this so much sooner. But in my mind, I had already told myself that this was going to cost way more than I expected it to be. And I'm going to tell you that the same is true with dog training. We have so many different options and affordable options. I've got options that are all the way down to monthly subscriptions of $9.99 a month. Okay, for you to get dog training. Okay, so when I say that we're affordable, okay, I have affordable options. I am not exaggerating that at all. And I'm going to tell you, there has been so many times over the years that I have totally kicked myself for just not doing something sooner because I had convinced myself it was outside of my budget or outside of my range. And then when I found out how much it cost, I was like, I could have done this so much sooner, so much faster, and I could have saved myself so much time and so much stress and so much if I had just done this so much sooner and actually price checked. I, in my mind, had already decided it was outside of my budget. It was going to be too time consuming. I didn't have the time to do it. I wasn't going to be able to find anybody local. And I had just already talked myself out of it before I even did it. And I'm going to tell you that if this rings home with anybody on here, then they're done it. Do it all the time. I just did it to myself again just a couple weeks ago. And I was like, again, why did I do that? I know better than to do that. And I still did it anyways. So just reach out, ask questions. Okay. So I know that we don't have all of our prices on our website, and that's not because we're trying to like hide our prices or anything. And it's because that our prices do vary based on location and travel. And that is the only reason why it's not on there, because it's a range of price, and I don't want to put the range on there and scare somebody away to be like, oh my gosh, it's going to be the high range. Okay. It's not. Okay. And again, there's lots of options. Just because it's in that range does not mean that there's not other options out there for you that are much, much more affordable than what that range is going to be in the realm of those private appointments. Okay. So just don't do like I did and just push this off because you don't think that you can afford it, because I am going to tell you, you can, and it's worth it. It's worth every penny. It truly, truly is. So, all right. Here's the other thing. Okay. When you are shopping around and you're looking at prices, I am also going to tell you, if you've looked at prices, okay, we are nowhere in the range of what some other places charge. And I know that our prices are much lower than what other dog trainers charge. And that is on purpose. So we are a remote company, which means we do not have a building you can walk into. And that's on purpose. We do that to keep our overhead low. And our overhead low means that we can keep our prices more affordable for you, and we can keep our prices low. But not only that, okay, it's how we train and what our philosophy and our beliefs are. So I already told you that your dog is the equivalent of a 2-year-old toddler. And so when I say that, I'm not saying that your dog is a human being. I am saying that your dog has the emotional intelligence of a 2-year-old toddler. And your dog, okay, if it's not appropriate for a 2-year-old toddler, it's not appropriate for your dog, right? In the idea of animal welfare, okay? And I'm not saying treat your dog like a human. I am saying that we have to look at the equivalent of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in the idea of care and treatment of animals. Okay. At Legend Acres, we believe that training should heal, not hurt. So in that, Legend Acres philosophy is 100% force-free, fear-free. And what we teach is very heavy in canine cognition and in bond-based training. And so that does not mean that there are not boundaries. That does not mean that everything is cookies and butterflies. Okay. And so it does mean positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is a word that gets thrown around a lot and it gets misused a lot. Positive reinforcement just means we're going to make a super big deal when your dog makes a good decision. Okay. It means that when your dog doesn't make the right decision, we are not going to use adversives that cause pain. We are not going to use pinch collars. We are not going to use shock collars. We are not going to use physical pain. We are not going to choke your dog. We're not going to use physical force. We're not going to pinch our dogs to get them to comply. We are not going to kick them. We are not going to cause any type of physical pain on our dogs. Okay. We are also not going to cause any emotional distress on our dogs either. So that is what we're talking about when we talk about adversives. Okay. So there are still boundaries. Okay. We are giving our dogs choices still. We are saying you can choose to do the thing I'm asking you to do, and there is a higher value payoff in that, or you can choose to do the thing that you're continuing to do that has no payoff in that. Or we're going to restrict you from the access to that thing because what you're doing is harmful. You're still going to be the adult. There's still going to be boundaries. There's still going to be rules in dog training. There's this idea that force-free, fear-free means that we are going to just allow the dog to do whatever it wants to do. Okay. And that is not what that means. What it means is that we're not going to cause emotional or physical pain in the idea of communicating with our dogs. Okay. We're still going to have boundaries. There's still going to be consequences to decisions. Okay. Consequences is not a negative thing. Just consequences is this is what happens when you make this decision. Okay. It's just not going to be a painful consequence if they make the decision we're not looking for. Okay. And so that's just something that you need to understand, because there's this big misconception of what that looks like. The other thing is that we do use rewards in training. So rewards in training does not necessarily mean that it's always going to be a food reward. Okay. So there are many things that we use as rewards in training. However, when we use food or toy rewards or play rewards in the beginning of training to reinforce training, that does not mean that we're stuck with those through the rest of our training. So we do use CRR and we use CRR formulas, okay, to be able to move away from those one-to-ones that we use in the beginning when we're teaching, so that we are not creating a treat dependent or toy dependent or a play dependent dog in the end. And so we do start with a higher ratio of reward in the beginning of teaching something new, and then we use a formula there's a variable formula to move away from that as we move into those upper levels of training, because we do use the AKC testing. So when you get into intermediate, class, advanced, and urban, there are no treats allowed to be used on the test when you get to those levels. And so we are moving away from those one-to-one rewards actually very quickly into training, moving into the intermediate class. And so it is not just a food or a treat. I'm sorry. Well, that's a food, treat, or toy reward-based training that you are stuck with once you start. And so there's this big kind of myth out there about that. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. And there are formulas that we use very specific to dog training formulas. And those are CRRQ, response reward. And those are ratios in dog training. And so that there is actually math and formulas to that we utilize to move away from those one-to-ones. So that we do not create those treat dependent dogs, or that we don't get a dog who then says, so I heard you and what you asked me to do, but what do you have for me when I do that? And so that's not what we're creating with the type of training that we do. And we're training, our curriculum is very much focused on service dogs and therapy dog training. However, our curriculum is open to anyone who wants to train alongside of those dogs, as well as our behavior modification curriculums that we offer as well. So we also have some other community programs that we do. And so our active dog lifestyle community is our AKC Fit group that we have. And so we have a Facebook group that is our active dog lifestyle community. And so you can find that it's connected to our Legend Acres Facebook page. And so we do have some group walks in Arizona, and we do have a virtual 5K this year for the turkey trot. So we're not doing an in-person turkey trot this year because I'm going to be out of town for Thanksgiving this year. So the dogs, the pups, and my husband and I are taking a trip. And so we're taking the pups on vacation. And so we are doing just a virtual 5K. So if you are looking to earn your AKC Fit titles, then we are more than happy to help you with that, because we do have our AKC Fit club through Legend Acres. And so that is the Legend Acres Active Dog Lifestyle community, and that is our AKC Fit club. So we do also have that for you. And then, but if you're looking for some more structured help with your dogs, we also have our group classes. We offer, we have 4 core group classes. Those are fundamentals, intermediate, advanced, and urban. But we also offer courses for your pups who are a little bit younger in home. And so we offer puppy pre-K in home. That's going to help you with some puppy management. So if you've got a new puppy in the home and you've got the holidays coming up, puppy pre-K is going to set you up for success in how to set your puppy up for success with the holidays coming up, especially if you're going to do holiday decorating in a tree and things, and you want to keep those things standing, like your tree standing. We can come into home and help you get all of that set up. And then we also do have our behavior modification. And then we also have some fun things too, like our scent workshops. And those are available online on demand now, as well as our clicker workshops. And then we also have some other flexible classes online. The puppy pre-K is also available online, self-paced. So you can even take that course online. And here's the cool thing about those online courses is those online courses now have packages that you can either purchase them as a whole and then have access to the whole course, or you can now do subscriptions. And so that's what I was talking about with our subscriptions being low. You can bundle those and you can have access to multiple courses under a low subscription rate. And the other thing is you can do a different package under those subscriptions and also includes one-on-one sessions with a trainer. And you can also turn in videos and get feedback from those. So just because you're doing online and self-paced doesn't mean that you don't have a feedback from a trainer. So like when you do them on YouTube, so I know that some of the things that you can do is you can just look up some stuff on YouTube and you can follow along on YouTube. But when you do that and it doesn't look like you wanted it to look like or what it's supposed to look like in the video, you don't really have a way to get any feedback on that without scheduling an appointment. Well, through this subscription packages, it's already included. You get that feedback. So you can submit a video and get feedback. It's already part of your subscription. And then if you have the upper level packages, those sessions are part of your package. So then you're already paying for it in your subscription. So you get to talk to a trainer one-on-one. So you get to submit those videos and then you get to meet with a trainer one-on-one. So not only have you now been able to go over the material, work on it, and try to apply some things, but then you can record your homework, submit it, get some feedback. So now a trainer one has had eyes on you, on what you've done. They know what you've already reviewed and looked at. And then you can have a one-on-one session with them. And so you can get your questions answered. You can get maybe some troubleshooting and say like, okay, I followed the directions, but this is what my outcome is. It's not the same as what this outcome is. And so now you have someone who can actually work you through what those issues are and help you do some problem solving on that. So, all right. So it doesn't look like we've got any other questions on here, or any other questions that have been submitted. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite these questions here at the end. And once this goes live, okay, because, well, this is live. Once this goes out as the recording, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these questions into the comments, and we will be able to have a little chat about these in the comments. And so what I want to know here is, what is your dog's biggest challenge during the holidays? So if you have a dog who this is their, they've been through the holidays before, what were your challenges in the past? Or if Halloween was their first holiday, what were your challenges this past weekend? And then I want to know who's planning to travel, okay, with their dogs this year, because we're planning to travel for Thanksgiving this year. And so our dogs have been on vacation before. So this will be Hero's second vacation. This will be Tuff's umpteenth vacation, because we vacation with our dogs. And we just haven't been vacationing as much here in Arizona, just because of the Legend. Kind of at the end of his life, we did one big vacation at the end of his life, and then when we got Hero, we've done a couple small little trips, like day trip things, but as overnight, Hero's only done one overnight trip, and so this will be his second vacation, and it's going to be 8 days, 7-night vacation. So I'm kind of actually excited to see how he's going to do, because I have a feeling he is going to be super excited, because he did actually really well in the last vacation that we did. So I'm really excited about this, because he does well traveling, and he did well traveling last time. And and the room that we have has a private garden for the dogs. Like it's a pet friendly resort that we're going to be staying at. And so they have their own space, and we decided to do the resort instead of an Airbnb, because we decided we weren't going to cook anyways. So the Airbnb with a kitchen wasn't going to give us anything else. And it didn't have any more yard available, because it was like one of those shared kind of Airbnb things where like you shared the yard with the other house as well. And so the dog space was going to be shared. And so actually the dog resort gave us more private dog yard space. And so I'm kind of excited to see how he actually really does. And so if anybody else is planning any dog vacations, I'd love to hear about your dog vacation, because I'm super excited about our dog vacation and the things that we're doing to prepare for the dog vacation for Thanksgiving. Because this will be the first time that we travel actually over the holidays with the dogs. We usually stay home for the holidays. And then also, I want you to drop your favorite calm time activity below. So what do you do when it's time to like sit down and watch TV and you need your dog to calm, or you are having like family dinner, you have a guest over? How do you get your dog to be under the table and calm at that time? Or if you're going out to eat, if your dogs are in a hotel room, how do you get them to be calm in the hotel room, being in that new space, or in the car? So I would love to hear what everybody else has done in the past, like what's worked for you, because here's the other thing. What has worked for one dog is not necessarily going to work for every dog. And so I want you to drop your comments in here, because your comments can help other people in here. And sometimes your take or twist on something might be a little bit different than what I've done, or you may take something that I've done or some advice that I've given you, and you may have tweaked it a little bit. And sometimes that little tweak or that little modification is what somebody else needs to hear for them to be successful. So please share that information in the comments below here. And then if anybody else has anything else that they want to pop into the comments, like let's continue this conversation, because there's a lot of really helpful like tips and tricks here for the holidays that can really set our dogs up for success here. And I want to see your dogs be successful and be part of the holidays. I don't want to see you have to lock your dogs away family for the holidays. I want your dogs to be part of the festivities. I want you to be able to put on a turkey costume and and a turkey hat on your dog and to greet your guest, and to be able to do your turkey trot, to do your virtual 5K turkey trot with your dog, and to do all this cool fun stuff. And that's what I want to be able to see. And because like Tough already has his turkey pajamas for his vacation, he's all set with that. I just got to get Hero some turkey pajamas, so some foot pajamas. All right, so on that note, I thank you so much for tuning in. And I know that this was a lot more in depth than our normal Tuesdays training tips for Tough, and it was meant to be that way. And so that's why we did the coffee with the trainer. And so I didn't drink much coffee. I did lots more talking, but that's okay. Take a little sip of my coffee there that's left. All right. So I just want to say thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me for Coffee with the Trainer. And if today helped you at all, if you got anything out of today at all right, or if you would like more personalized support, please schedule a consultation on our website at www.legend-acres.com. So it's got that dash in the middle, .com. But I did find out that the legendacres.com website is somebody didn't pay the bill on that. So I've got a little ting out on it. So we might be able to purchase that. Okay. But if you got anything out of today at all, please comment on the comments below this. Please do. And share this with your friends. Okay. This is supposed to be helpful to people. Like this is my Tuesdays training tips with Tough are just like short little like versions of this, of just like quick little tips and things. So I hope you got something out of this that can help you and your dog for the holidays and set you up for success. Even if it was something little, like just something that you hadn't thought of on here, or something that maybe kind of triggered something, or something that like as in like planning that you maybe hadn't considered to put into your planning. And also a quick note on planning. January is going to be fireworks. And so I do have a whole bunch of resources for fireworks that are absolutely free to you. So I have some sound counter conditioning stuff that is available to you for firework preparation. Also in our blogs too. So by the way, in our blogs, if you have not been on the website, so go to sorry, there's only 3 W's, www.legend-acres.com. And if you go into blogs, and I think it's down at the bottom. I think it's down in the bottom menu. There's a section down there that says blogs. And if you go into the blog section, whole bunch of free information. Okay, free information. Okay, like the Tuesdays training tips with Tough, free information, free to you, free trainer information. Okay, I have degrees in this. I paid for this knowledge. I paid for this. Okay, well, I paid for some of it. The rest of it is experience, right? So I paid for the education, and then I put it to use, and then now it's like this big compilation of everything, of working with all of these dogs over the years and working with all of you over the years. And this education kind of all put together. And so you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for the education to get the information that I have. Now, so if you want, the big pieces, then we've got classes. But if you just need like little tiny things, like you're like, I just need this one thing. Okay, go to our YouTube page. Go to our blog. Okay. There's information there. If you just need one little tiny piece, it's there. If you want to do a deep dive, you can do a deep dive in there. And then, but if you get stuck, reach out. Okay. Because then I can help you with the unstuck. Sometimes when I come into your home, I can see things that you can't. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. And it's not because you can't see what's happening. It's because it's too close to you. It's that idea of that you can't see the forest because of the trees. You got too many trees. And so I come in and I can see the forest because I don't live in your trees every day. And so sometimes it's really honestly just this outside perspective, being able to come in and see the bigger picture of what's going on. And the other thing is too is that you also need to understand that my background is in veterinary medicine, and so I have a degree in veterinary technology. And so that is a 4-year degree versus the 2-year degree for a veterinary technician. So mine is a veterinary technology degree. So that's a 4-year degree. And so I'm a lic- licensed, okay, licensed vet tech, okay, technologist. Sorry, technologist, not a vet tech, technologist. And I have a master's in veterinary practice management. So I went into a specialty for my MBA. So it is a master's of business, but it was specifically to go into veterinary medicine. And so, like, my business ethics course was in veterinary ethics. Okay, so it was a very specific track to go into. So business classes were in veterinary medicine. And then I also have an additional master's in equine science, is where that second part comes in as well. So just so that you kind of have an idea of what my background is and why my approach is also a little bit different, because I also do look at the holistic part of what's going on with your dog. And what I mean by holistic, I don't mean that like, ooh, holistic. Okay. What I mean is as a whole. So sometimes behavior change is due to health. And so I am also looking at any medical reasons behind why things could be changing with your dog. And so I may send you to your vet to rule out medical issues with your dog, especially if we have a sudden change in behavior, or if you have an aged dog that is having a sudden change in behavior. So sometimes there are some medical issues that we do have to rule out for behavior. And we are going to do you a favor and send you to the vet to rule those out before we do any type of behavior modification plans. Because if it's medical, there is no amount of behavior modification that's going to fix a medical problem. So we have to rule out the medical first. So just so that you are aware of that, that is something that sometimes we have to discuss, is that medical does have to be ruled out. And that might not be a conversation that you're going to have with an average dog trainer. So we kind of take things from a little bit of a different approach, because we're looking at the dog as a whole. We're looking at medical, we're looking at nutrition, we're looking at environment, we're looking at enrichment, we're looking at physical. We're looking at the dog from a lot of different angles, because we're looking at physical, we're looking at mental, and we're also looking at the dog emotionally as well. And we're taking all of those things into consideration when we are doing an assessment. We are not just looking at what is the behavior output. We are looking for what is the cause of the behavior output. We're not going to come in and just put a band-aid on what your dog is doing. We're not going to just come fix the behavior output. We're going to fix we're going to come in and we're going to find the cause for the behavior output, not just stop the behavior output. And so that is why what we do is a little bit different. And so you will also see from, if you look at the comments, or even if you look at our reviews, that that is not what everybody is looking for. There are a lot of people looking for quick fixes. That's not us, because we are going to make sure that we are setting your dog up for success, and that we're always putting them first, and that we're always putting the animal welfare first. So we are not going to come in and do a quick fix. And if you are requesting us to do something that goes against our philosophy and our ethics, we will not do it. And so you are more than welcome to write a bad review about that, because that is not something that we are willing to compromise on. And we won't. We won't compromise on it. And we will fire you as a client, and we will move on, because we will not do that. We will not bend our ethics for you to get faster results. And because we will not put the dog in a position to do that. because there are ways to get those faster results, and there are other trainers that are willing to do those, but it's at the cost of your dog, and it's at that cost either mentally or emotionally or physically, and we will not do that. And so I just want to put some clarity on that, because what we're doing is not a quick fix. And if you're looking for a quick fix, then we are not it. And so I do want to clarify on that, because sometimes there's some questions about that and about what we do, because we are not your average trainer. In fact, the idea of what traditional dog training was is we have dog trainers seeking us out to learn what we do because they don't feel comfortable doing what they were hired to do in the name of quick fixes, because they do not feel comfortable doing those things to dogs anymore. And the things that we are doing also aren't new methods. This is all 100% science backed. And the science actually comes from research that started, it became mainstream in the 1970s, but the research actually dates further back than that. And so there's a lot of science backing everything that we do. And so this isn't just stuff that I've made up. Again, this is all backed by science and education and degrees. And we are more than happy to share it with you. And also, if you want to learn more about that, we do have a mentor training program. So we do take certified trainers and non-certified trainers, and we will teach you everything that we know in our training program. And so we have 4 semesters a year, and the program is 70 credit hours. And so it is the equivalent of an associate's degree. And it takes about 2 years to complete the program. And so we run in traditional semesters, just like college courses do. And so the next semester actually starts in February after the new year. And so our semesters kind of run a little bit different than like the traditional semesters run, just because we run year round. And we don't really kind of have a summer break. We have 2-week breaks between each semester, and the current semester just started this past week. So on that note, I just want to say thank you again so much for spending some time with me today and listening to me. And I hope that this information was helpful to you and that you got something out of it. So please comment and share below, even if you didn't watch all of this, because this was very long. And here's the other thing that I want you to remember is to please give your dog grace, and please give yourself some grace. And remember that calm starts with connection. So we're going to see you next time. And that's going to be on Tuesday with Tuesday's Training Tips with Tough. And so Tuesdays at 10 a.m., we are live. Okay, most of the time we're live on Tuesdays at 10 a.m., depending on what my schedule is. So I try to be live, but if not, you can always catch us on those recordings, because those are always going to be posted. Those are always shared on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on YouTube and on TikTok. So anywhere that you can find any of our videos. So again, I just want to repeat this again. Please give yourself some grace. This holiday season, give your dog some grace. Okay. And remember that calm starts with connection. And so with that, thank you again for tuning in, and we're going to see you next time.